It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show for Friday, March 14th. This is C Block, which means we started right around 7:40. Okay, John, did you get the flag? Did you see the flag?
I did, yeah. It's not too bad for something that took 60 seconds and no human brain to do.
And no cash, more importantly. No tax dollars were spent on that flag. I'll put that up later on my Facebook page. Of course, John will never see it because he never goes on Facebook. Okay, here is the theoretical story I want to talk about, okay? Do you know
Do I get a theme song for this, Brett?
Well, we haven't gotten there yet. I've got to give the lead up. I've got to give the lead up, okay? Do you know who Josh Allen is?
The quarterback of the Bills?
Yes, Josh Allen, the quarterback of the Bills.
And doesn't he have a hot wife?
He's engaged to Haley Steinfeld. Those of you who listen to Westplex 107.1 will know Haley Steinfeld because I don't know if she's as popular as she used to be, but there was a time when she was really one of the hot singers on the top 40 type charts and things like that. Very attractive young lady and very talented, okay? They're engaged, okay? And at a press conference... matter of fact, I'll just give you this one paragraph. Fresh off his MVP season, Allen signed a $330 million contract extension with a record $250 million guarantee earlier this week that will likely grant the veteran quarterback his hope of finishing his career in Buffalo. Okay, now, first off, let's say in baseball, most of the contracts are guaranteed. So if they say they're going to give a player $50 million, that player is going to get $50 million. In other sports, including football, there's all sorts of asterisks in the contract where you got to jump on your head and you got to twirl around 3 times and touch your knee with your foot and stuff like that. And then you get the whole amount. So he's guaranteed a $250 million. So someone in the audience said, "Hey, Josh, we know you just recently got engaged to Haley Steinfeld, and we saw the ring, and it's not much of a diamond. Are you going to get Haley a new ring since you now have a guaranteed $250 million? So you know what that brings into focus? You know
what's that, Brad?
What that brings into focus is this.
What would John do? What would John O do? What would John do?
So I think it's plain knowledge. Everybody knows that John is a single dude right now. John is unattached, and John says, "Don't ever talk about my personal life." But I think everybody knows that about you, that you are, shall we say, wifeless at this point in your life. Would that be true to say?
Yeah, like I said, I generally don't talk about my personal life. Thanks, Brad.
Okay, so let's say John finds the woman of his dreams. And he goes to Shane Company and buys her like a 1-carat diamond. And then all of a sudden, one day, John gets a phone call. And it's not just any phone call. It's a phone call from Germany. And the guy...
Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it, but go ahead.
the guy
the
who is...
no, but go ahead. If I get a whole bunch of money, do I buy a new engagement ring?
The CEO of Bear says... John, you know what? We've been listening to you on the Brad and John Show, and you probably know that things have not been well for us ever since we bought that crazy Monsanto company. And you know what? We think that you are the guy that can turn things around, and we are going to give you a guaranteed $250 million for you coming on board to essentially right the Bear ship and get this glyphosate thing straightened out.
Glyphosate, yeah, I'd start by correcting the way they say it. Go ahead.
Once and for all. And you would say, woohoo, $250 million.
And then, keep going.
And then you would say, you know what? I gave my fiance, only gave her a 1-carat. I think she deserves like a 100-carat diamond. I mean, I want to see that woman walk down the street with her left arm hanging lower than her right arm because she's going to have so much bling on her finger because I got $250 million. I'm going to get that diamond to the point where matter of fact, she's going to get tickets in the city of St. Louis because on sunny days, she's going to cause traffic accidents because the sun's going to, when she's walking down the street in downtown St. Louis, because she loves downtown St. Louis because she's just like John, when she's walking down the street in downtown St. Louis and the sun hits that ring and it blinds all those people in their cars and they smash into people. John, what would John do? Would John buy her a new ring, or would John just say, hey, I got $250 billion. Hun, Are you happy with a 1 carat? And don't answer because I know you are. Right? Is that what John do?
Yeah. So here's the thing. First of all, I love the visual of her walking down the street with her arm hanging low. Any woman I've been in a relationship with doesn't walk the same. So let's start there. Secondly, I don't think I've ever been in a relationship with a woman that lasted longer than 3 months that wasn't making her own 6 figures. Like if you're not, well, I don't know. I mean, pick whichever type of woman you want. But if a woman needs your money, that's adorable. So let's start there as number 2. And then third, of course not. And I'm guessing a reporter, whoever asked this, is being funny. And I don't think any kind of self-respecting man would come into a bunch of money and then say, wow, I bet people are going to ask if I'm going to buy a more important or a bigger ring. I guess I need to buy her a ring. If you're in a relationship with a woman who cares about the size of her engagement wedding ring, you've done a really poor job screening your women.
Well, no. It wasn't that she cared about it. It was the question was directed at Josh. You know,
I know. And let me interrupt, Brad. What I'm saying is that would be like if you're giving a gift to somebody that doesn't need or care or want it. We're presuming that Haley, who, by the way, I'm sure has a ton of her own money. Like, I don't know why you want to date a woman that carried debt or that couldn't make her own 6 figures by herself. That's I guess a separate discussion. But I'm not saying that Haley wouldn't want a bigger ring, but who's to say she wants a bigger ring? You know what I'm saying? To presume that all women want big, gaudy diamonds, that's so stupid.
As of 2024, Haley Steinfeld's net worth is estimated to be $22 million.
Yeah, so I don't think she needs a man to buy her a ring. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but he's got $250 million. That's a magnitude of like almost times 10. As Grant Cardone would say, she'd 10x it with him, you know? And
yeah, and what I would say is he could probably, because Josh Allen is smart, I'm presuming, you know, depending on, he could see that, look, the dollar is going down. He could short the dollar. He should have been short Tesla. Like, hopefully he has a good team around him, and he'll make a lot of money, and he's not going to spend it on something like a diamond so that a bunch of ham and eggers and lunch pail types can say, Josh Allen bought a bigger ring, or that some fat woman whose feet smell, who wears rompers, can say, Josh Allen spent more money on a ring. Why don't you buy me a bigger one? Let's go to Walmart and ride our obesity scooter. Bunch of fat pigs. No, you don't go buy a woman a bigger ring just because you make more money.
John, in one sentence, you offended 5 different types of women. So.
Thank you. I don't think we got the truly handicapped. I think we just got the disgustingly obese in there.
Oh, God. Listen to this. Oh, God.
I went to Walmart yesterday and I saw a bunch of oinkers taking up space in obesity scooters. So I'm a little bit triggered, Brad.
You know, can I tell you something? I was in Costco yesterday, and this happened to me last week as well too. The scooters, and I won't call them what John calls them. The scooters, I didn't think they'd go that fast. I was going into the Schnucks in St. Charles last week, and the lady came flying out of Schnucks in one of those scooters. I think she would have gotten a ticket on 94. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm going like, whoa. I mean, to the point where she whizzed right by me, and if I wouldn't have been paying total attention, I would have been, flying through the air. And it happened to me yesterday in Costco. A lady came down the aisle, and I was going down one aisle, and she came out from the intersecting aisle. And did she look left and right? And remember, see, John, you're too young to remember this, but when I had driver's ed back at Hazelwood High School, we had this what we called the stimulators. They were actually the simulators. They were these big trailers they put in the middle of where the different halls were, and we would go in there, and there would it was a 16 millimeter film system. This is really dating myself, and you would sit in your little simulator. You know what I'm talking about, John? Have you ever seen?
I know exactly. Yeah, we had simulators. They probably weren't as big, but we had them in Hazelwood East for sure.
Okay, so and I could still remember this. You'd come up to an intersection, and you'd take your foot off the accelerator, you'd put the brake on, and the guy would say, "Stop sign ahead," and then you'd come to a stop, and then he'd say, "Check left, check right, check left again." proceed. And he said it just like that. Check left, check right, check left again, proceed. So this woman didn't check left or check right, and she didn't check left again. She just flew out of the end of this aisle and almost hit me. Now, having said that, did you ever hear the story about how I had lunch one day with Shelley at the Freddy's out there in St. Charles, and I got hit by a car in the parking lot? Have you ever heard this story?
No, I didn't hear this.
Yes,
and let me guess. Okay, so was the driver either elderly, were they a woman, or were they a man?
It was a woman, probably mid-30s, and I was walking through the parking lot, and she got in her car. It's funny because she walked out of the restaurant. She was probably about, I was just coming off the sidewalk, and she was already to her car. And I saw this, and my car parked on the other side of hers. So she gets in her car, very quickly starts the engine, throws it in reverse, and I'm right behind her, and she hit me. Now, not hard, but to the point where it sort of, pushed me away, and I sort of jumped out of the way. She didn't even know she did it. She just drove off.
Yeah.
And the other day, the exact same thing happened to me in a parking lot. I won't say where, but I'm thinking to myself, see, this is why. This is a little Brad-ism, okay? I learned this from my friend who worked at UPS. And if you ever notice this, UPS, when they pull into a parking space, they never front in, they back in. Do you know why that is, John?
Because that way you never have to back out.
Right, and statistically proven that when you're driving into an area, you can scan the area because you're coming into the area, and you essentially make your 2-point turn, and you back into the space. Then when you come back out, you don't know what's going on behind you because of the fact you've been inside, and they're delivering a package. You come back out, and you're sitting in the driver's seat, and you have full view of what's in front of you. You just put it in drive, and away you go. So I always back into parking spaces, or more appropriately, when I go to like a store parking lot, I find a space where I can pull through, and I will.
That's every man's dream is a pull-through parking spot.
I'm telling you, and I never can understand when I see people who are like. And once again, I'm the 10,000 step guy. I usually park just to the north of East Jesus. Okay, that's where I park in the parking lots. Okay, and it's always crazy that someone will park next to me, but they won't pull through. And I'm thinking to myself, dude or dudette, pull through, because that way when you come out, you don't have to back up, Yeah,
the only asterisk to that is the only downside of a pull-through spot is if you're putting a lot of stuff in the trunk and there's a car right behind you, it might be a little bit tight to get your cart in there. Otherwise, I agree with you 100%. And let me tell yet another old Monsanto story. At Monsanto, if you were in field sales, so you're one of the guys that meets with farmers or whatever, you're out in the field, everybody got, I think it was an F-150, like as a company car. And the important thing is you would get cited by Monsanto police. And we had Monsanto police taking radar on campus and everything and keeping nut jobs away. But you would get a ticket in the Monsanto parking lot if you drove one of the company vehicles and you didn't back in. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, because they wanted to do everything they could to remind you, no matter where you are, always back in, never just pull into a spot.
So were you good at backing in, John?
Well, I wasn't a field sales guy, so I never had one of those. Yeah, I'm a parallel parking guy. And I'm a pull-through spot guy, too. And then when you think about, I had a couple school events at night with kids this week, and you always, particularly when you're going to have a crowded lot, exactly to your point, Brad, if you back into a spot, then you get in your car and you're gone.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
never have to wait for some suburban soccer mom sipping a Truly in the driver's seat to let you in if you're trying to back up. You get what I'm saying?
See, John, whenever you do this, this is what good comedians do. John's a comedian. John could essentially say, some woman sipping a drink, but in other words, he embellishes with the story with some suburban soccer mom just sipping a Truly, okay? And what's interesting about that is that's country music, John. That's country music. Matter of fact, I took this yesterday, and see, I'm a country music guy, okay? And I wasn't until, God, back in the early 90s, I was, during my traffic reporting days, I couldn't find, the lady I had who was working for me was on WIL, quit, and I couldn't find anybody. So for I think it was 2 years, everybody I approached for WIL, they didn't like, and finally I got Captain Mac, who was my replacement. I was on WIL for 2 years doing traffic, and I got to the point where I really enjoyed country music, okay? And it's gone through some changes, and now we're back to where we started from. Let me see if I can find this. I took this yesterday, which I thought was interesting. I took this picture. What did I do with it? I can't remember what I did with it. Darn it. Let me see what look there's here. Essentially, what I'm detecting now is country music, at least from what I'm hearing in WIL, is going back to sort of its roots. You don't hear the bro country stuff anymore, where essentially it's the formatic thing, where hey, I've got 34-inch tires on my truck, and put your pretty.
I love country girls dancing.
Right. Let's get stuck out in the mud in the field, and let's dance in the back of my pickup truck. Wink, wink, wink. And if you know what I'm saying. So there's a couple new artists, and I Shazammed them, because I thought, I've never heard that guy before. And when I looked up his Wikipedia page, it said he was neo-country. Have you ever heard this before?
Oh, neo-country. I like that. So that means this new wave, right?
No, hold on. Let me see if I can find it real quick. This is on Wikipedia. I thought to myself, I have never heard this before. Are you in a time where can we go a minute more?
No. Yeah, we can go over.
Okay, let me see if I can find this again. I thought I bookmarked it, but neo-country, C-O-N, neo, C-O-U-N-T-R-Y. No, I can't find it. There's New Country Rehab is Canadian alternative country format. And essentially what they're saying is, where did I find that? Hold on a minute. It's just driving me nuts when I think
You sure it wasn't on St. Louis Public Radio? They're really in tune with the suburbs and rural areas.
No. This was. I can't find it. I thought. I'll make a note. We'll talk about it on Monday. But essentially, it's like going back to. And if you've heard the latest, I love Brad Paisley. If you know the new Brad Paisley song, you don't listen at all, do you? Essentially,
No.
I mean, what's interesting about country music is, it tells a story. And there's a new Kane Brown song that talks about he's driving with this kid, and he's oblivious to thing, and the kid says, Dad, what do squirrels do? What blah, 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 blah. And essentially, in the song, it's called Backseat Driver. And it's like, his kid is his backseat driver. And it's all about the fact that the kids see things that we don't see. And see, that is, to me, the heart of country music. It's storytelling. It's not, hey, babe, I got 34-inch tires on my car. Put your pretty little pink toenails up on the dashboard. Scoot on over to next to me, because I got a bench seat in my truck. And nobody has bench seats in their trucks anymore except for me, because I want my honey sitting right next to me so I can put my arm around her. That kind of stuff. Get what I'm saying?
I get exactly what you're saying. Yeah, it sounds like if you were to ever do another AI country song, you should probably include pink toenails.
I'm going to the studio right now. It'll be on. I'll have that for you on Monday. Okay, John, it's been a pleasure today. Yesterday, not so much, but today was great.
Hey, Brad, I'd love to stay, but I got to go burn some brush right before this big storm. I'm going to take it down to Osage Ridge Road. I hear that nobody goes down there very often, but they do have some fresh concrete.
Take it down Highway 47 in Crapville, because it is dry down there. And if you started a fire, my whole transmitter site would be gone. And then the farmers, the residents of Three Creeks Village, who's now the population up to 6, the residents of Three Creeks Village would pitch a bitch, and they'd be after you, and they'd want to throw you in jail. Say goodbye, John.
See you tomorrow. I see you Monday.